Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, counter-spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve. Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into our time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
A pair of shows this hour from July 31st, 1960. We'll hear radio's outstanding theater of thrills Suspense in our second half hour, but right now John Dehner starring as Paladin in an episode of Have Gun Will Travel, My Son Must Die from July 31st, 1960.
I'm sorry our fishing trip turned out this way, Hey Boy. But we can't go back to San Francisco until we know this girl is safe.
Have Gun Will Travel. Starring Mr. John Dehner as Paladin. San Francisco, 1875. The Carlton Hotel, headquarters of the man called Paladin.
Mr. Paladin?
Hey Boy?
Yes, sir.
Well, what in the devil is all that you're carrying?
It's camping equipment. Come in, please.
Well, yes, come on in.
Oh, thank you. Gee. Oh. Yeah, hey, boy, tired.
I don't doubt it, but why in the world do you have all that equipment?
Oh, it's very necessary for a fishy trip, Mr. Paladin.
Well, we certainly don't need all that.
Oh, yes, sir. Man in store, I tell Hey Boy he need many things.
Oh, the man at the store. What did you tell him that we were only going for 1 week?
Oh, yes, sir. That Hey Boy get time off from job that you promised to take me, and that is very happy time.
But may I remind you that besides 2 saddle horses, we're only taking 1 pack horse.
Oh? Too much equipment, huh?
Oh, much too much.
You, Hey Boy, have to leave some?
You'll have to leave a lot. All we need are a couple of saddle blankets, cooking gear, some fishing line, and a few hooks.
Oh.
And the rest is up to the fish when they see the worms.
Worms?
Yeah.
Little wiggly worms?
That's right. We use them for bait.
Yeah. Yeah, boy, not like little wiggly worm.
Well, there's one other way to catch fish, eh, boy?
Oh, yes, sir? How?
Well, you find yourself a nice rock out in the middle of the stream, see?
Eh?
And you crouch on it like a cat. And be still. Shh. Very still.
Oh, yes, sir. Then what?
Then, after a couple of hours, you might see a fish. And when you do, you take a deep breath, dive into that icy stream, and swim after him.
Huh?
If you're lucky and can hold your breath long enough, you may catch a fish.
Mr. Paladin?
Yes?
Hey, boy, use little wiggly worm.
Hey Boy and I left San Francisco and traveled south into the Santa Lucia Mountains. The wild beauty of this part of California was magnificent to see. The great, jagged cliffs rising toward the sky and then suddenly slashing off and dropping into the crashing surf of the Pacific far below, and the heavy, untamed forest growing to the very brink of the cliffs. We turned inland and rode deep into the Santa Lucias, searching for the mountain streams that would afford the best fishing. And soon we had a comfortable camp set up. The next morning, Hey Boy was up with the sun and standing on the bank of the stream, fishing. By 10 o'clock, he still hadn't had a strike. Hey Boy. Hey Boy, don't you want to eat some breakfast?
Shh.
What?
Hey, boy, catchy fish.
Well, now look here. We'll be here a whole week, and so will the fish.
Hey, boy, use wiggly worm, just like you say, but still ain't no catchy fish.
Well, you know what I think? I think you've frightened the fish away. Standing there staring at that stream the way you are?
Yo, hey boy, wait a long time to go on fishy trip with you. Now I catch a fishy.
Yeah. What was that?
Oh, sound like a lady scream, Mr. Paladin.
Come on.
Mr. Paladin!
You there. Leave that girl alone. You hear me? I said leave her alone.
You hit Carlos. Kill. I will kill.
Oh, no, you don't.
Gringo. Dirty Gringo.
Hey, Mr. Paladin, he have knife.
You will die, Gringo, with a knife.
Don't you try it. You're all right. Why do you harm this girl?
I must kill her. You must let me kill her.
I said, why do you harm this girl?
Go. I go now. You will turn Carlos loose.
You come back here. Come back.
Please, let him go. Don't go after him.
Are you all right?
Yes. Yes, I think so.
Who are you?
Marlene Carter.
What's this all about? What happened?
Well, I was rounding up stray cattle when Carlos came up and tried to kill me.
You know this boy?
Yes.
Why would he try to kill you?
I don't know. He's like a wild, crazy animal.
How far do you live from here?
About a mile.
Hey, boy. Get our things together. We better see that she gets home all right.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, mister.
July 31st, 1960. Have Gun Will Travel on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, the conclusion of Have Gun Will Travel, starring John Dehner as Paladin, July 31st, 1960.
Marlene Carter's ranch was hidden in a small valley, and the heavily wooded forest came almost to the back of the house. Its tangled undergrowth capable of hiding many things, its darkness lonely and sinister. We were met in the front yard by an ageless Mexican woman who was introduced as Toleta. Briefly, Marlene explained what had happened, and Toleta looked at me, her black eyes strange and piercing. Marlene insisted we stay for coffee, and after the first cup, Hey Boy went outside to water the horses. By this time, the girl had recovered sufficiently to talk freely.
Toleta and I run this ranch by ourselves, Mr. Paladin.
Just the two of you?
That's right. My mother died when I was born, and my father died just last year. Toleta's all I have left. She's been like a mother to me all my life.
But don't you have someone here to help you? Ranch hands? Or?
No. This place is a long way from any town, Mr. Paladin. And the men you can get aren't the most desirable. I hired a couple of men once. As soon as they found out Toleta and I lived here alone, they began to get ideas. Toleta had to run them off with a shotgun.
Yeah, I see.
Besides, I only run a small herd, and I can handle cattle about as good as any man.
Well, I'm sure you can, but it seems that handling cattle isn't your only problem. What about Carlos?
Oh, it's terrible. Terrible thing.
Who is he?
Mr. Paladin, Carlos Martinez was raised right here, right on this ranch.
Oh?
My father always treated him like he was my brother. We grew up together. Carlos was always kind and good until about 2 years ago.
What happened?
Well, there was an accident.
Accident?
He was breaking a horse. The horse threw him. Carlos fractured his skull. We thought he was going to die, but he didn't. Maybe... Oh, it's a horrible thing to say, but maybe it would have been better if he had.
Why would you say that?
When he got well, he wasn't the same.
How do you mean?
Well, he just... Sometimes he'd get kind of wild. It was frightening. My father couldn't control him. Nobody could. Then one day he just disappeared. That was over a year ago.
And you hadn't seen him again until today?
Well, only once, when we buried Dad. We saw him lurking in the woods. Toleta tried to go out and talk to him, but he looked at her kind of wild and ran off. Oh, Toleta, did Mr. Paladin's friend find his way around?
See, he's still watering the horses. More coffee, senor?
Yes, thank you, Toledo. I still don't understand why he'd want to kill you, Marlene. You say Carlos was raised on this ranch. He almost got killed by a horse, which seemed to hurt his mind and turn him into some kind of an animal.
He is not an animal.
Toledo.
He is a man with feelings and gentleness and hurts, just like you and just like me.
Toledo.
I raised him just as I raised Senorita Marlene. I rocked him to sleep when he was a child, and I cried over him when he was sick.
Please, Toledo, I didn't tell him.
There is nothing to hide. Senor Paladin should know that Carlos Martinez is my son.
I sat and looked at Toledo. In her eyes, I could see the pain and torture, the heartache of a mother who has had to stand helplessly by and watch a thing she loves, a part of herself, her own son, turn into a savage. Without another word, she turned and silently left the room.
I'm sorry, Mr. Paladin. I should have told you Carlos was Toledo's son.
Well, I should have guessed. This must hurt her very deeply.
More than anyone knows. Sometimes at night I hear her rocking in the chair on the porch, singing a little Spanish lullaby. The one she used to sing to Carlos and me a long time ago.
Can't something be done? I mean, couldn't he be put somewhere and given treatment?
Where? There's nothing around here, even if he could be caught.
Well, what about the doctors? What do they say?
All the same thing. Nothing can be done for him.
Well, still, it seems that...
Mr. Paladin! Mr. Paladin?
What is it, Hey Boy? What's wrong?
Big man, sir. One who tried to kill young lady. He outside.
What?
Yes, sir. I see him in woods back of house. He see Hey Boy. He run.
Are you sure?
Oh, yes, sir. Very sure.
He's come back, Mr. Paladin. What'll I do?
I don't know. But I do know you and Toledo can't stay here alone. Do you have an extra room?
Yes, I do.
All right, then. For your protection, Marlene, Hey Boy and I are going to stay here tonight.
Mr. Paladin, you want a cup of coffee, too?
No, thank you, Hey Boy.
Yeah, Hey Boy, not like fishy tip. Want to go back to San Francisco?
Yeah. I'm sorry it turned out this way, Hey Boy, but we can't go back just now.
No, somebody have unhappy doggy?
No, that's a coyote, Hey Boy. There's a full moon tonight. So you'll hear a lot of them.
No, not a good sound. Make Hey Boy spine tickle.
Yeah. I think I'll go take a look around outside before turning in. I'll be back in a few minutes.
Yes, sir. Oh, you be careful, Mr. Paladin. Big crazy man may be waiting outside to kill you. Remember, he have knife.
I'll remember.
Mr. Paladin.
Huh? Oh, Marlene? I thought you were in bed.
I was, but I heard Toledo.
Toledo?
She's on the porch again, rocking and singing. Come here by the window. She knows Carlos is around. I think she wants him to hear her.
She shouldn't be out there alone.
I know.
I'm going out.
I'll go with you. The moon is bright tonight, Toledo.
See, you should be in bed, little one.
Toledo, you mind if I look around a little? I think it might be a good idea.
I cannot control your actions, Senor Paladin.
Perhaps it'd be better if you and Marlene went back into the house.
No. We will wait on the porch for you, Senor Paladin. Then we will all go back in the house.
All right. As you wish.
Mr. Paladin, are you hurt?
A knife in my back. Get away. And get back to the house.
No, I can't leave you.
I told you I would be back.
Carlos!
The knife. It is good, no?
Carlos, don't!
I will kill him, then I will kill you.
Carlos, don't! Please don't!
Carlos, your mother calls you.
I have no mother.
Did you not hear me sing the lullaby? Was that not the song your mother used to sing to you?
See, that is so. But you were singing to this one. You were not singing to me. Always you sing to her, and she has taken you from me. She has taken you from me, so I have no mother.
Listen to me, Carlos.
No, I will kill them. I will kill them both.
No, Carlos. I have Mr. Paladin's gun. So you stand back. You just stand back.
No, I must kill.
No, Carlos, don't! Oh, my son. Carlos.
She shot me. She killed me.
Oh, God, I'm sorry, Carlos. I couldn't help it.
She took you. She took my mother from me.
No, Carlos. Never did that happen. Never.
Was it so? Were you truly singing for me?
It is true. Only for you. Carlos. Oh, my son.
Oh, Toledo. I'm sorry.
It is all right, my child. You will be happy now.
Come in. Miss Wong.
Mr. Wong, you feel better now, Mr. Paladin? A bad wound all healed up?
Oh, yes, I feel fine, thanks. Doctor says I'll be up by tomorrow.
Oh, you very sick when Hey Boy bring you back from trip.
By the way, where is Hey Boy? I haven't seen him for 2 days.
Oh, he go all over. Try to sell camping, fishing things he bought to go on trip.
Oh, I see. You mean he doesn't like fishing after all?
No,
huh?
sir. Hey Boy say he never leave San Francisco again. He say too many things happen.
Well, this fishing trip was a little unusual.
Oh, is that? Hey Boy also say it's too easy to catch fish.
Too easy?
Too easy.
Hey Boy said that?
Yes, sir. He say he catch big fish first time he put line in water.
Big fish?
Big fish.
How big?
Oh, about this big.
That big?
That big.
Miss Wong, do you know what?
Yes, sir. Hey Boy tell Missy Wong big fishy story.
You are so very right.
God. I remember something you said to me long time ago.
Oh, what was that?
Yes, sir. You say, use discretion.
Uh-huh.
Oh. So when Hey Boy talk about fish, Mr. Wong let eyes get very large. Listen with mouth open.
Ah, I see.
Oh, Hey Boy have such good audience. He take Missy Wong for a walk in the moonlight. Oh, but pretty soon he forget about fish.
Miss Wong, Hey Boy may not know it, but he's the fish that swallowed the hook.
Have Gun, Will Travel. Created by Herb Meadow and Sam Rolfe, is produced and directed in Hollywood by Frank Paris and stars John Dehner as Paladin, with Ben Wright as Hey Boy and Virginia Gregg as Miss Wong. Tonight's story was specially written for Have Gun, Will Travel by Ray Kemper. Featured in the cast were Ann Whitfield, Vic Perrin, and Lillian Bayette. This is Hugh Douglas, inviting you to join us again next week when CBS Radio presents Have Gun, Will Travel.
So rather than having to develop a brand new radio show, CBS took its popular TV show Have Gun, Will Travel, starring Richard Boone, and adapted it to radio, using John Dehner as Paladin, who, quite frankly, I think did a better job in the role than Richard Boone did, but that's just my opinion, and a lot of you are not popular about that opinion. Have Gun Will Travel, July 31st, 1960, here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Visit our webpage, classicradio.stream. And coming up next, radio's outstanding theater of thrill suspense from this same date, July 31st, 1960, Endgame, a chess master forced to play a game against a mad sheriff with murder at the stakes. That's Suspense, next, here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. But first...
It's a big, bold story set in the heartland of America, along the edge of Lonely Mountain. I am open for business. And so Big William Gorgon, played by handsome Michael James, fiercely set down his Midwest roots.
Oh, darling, we're going to sell bathrobes and raise chickens.
Set his adoring wife, Wilhelmina, portrayed by beautiful Glenda Olsen.
Oh, I love our store, Will.
But they hadn't counted on Big Ralph's bathrobes and cattle store coming to town.
Oh, Will, what will we do, Will?
Will had a plan, a way of facing off against tough Big Ralph. We're going to change the face of America. We're going to advertise.
Adver what?
With print and broadcasting and bus benches, we're going to tell people who we are and where we are.
What's a bus?
And so the story of how one man brought advertising to the heartland.
Oh, will it work?
It will. Well, my name ain't Will, Wilhelmina. You got to advertise or we'll die. And so the greatest marketing story of all time is here. Advertise or die, dopey.
Put your message on this national advertising platform. Email classicradiotheater@gmail.com. classicradiotheater@gmail.com. Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, an episode of radio's outstanding theater of thrill suspense, Endgame, as it was broadcast July 31st, 1960.
And now, another tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
Endgame, written for suspense by David Karp.
Have you ever been lost at night? Even if you are, like myself, a man who isn't easily upset, there is a nightmarish quality in driving down a narrow two-lane country road at night in a wild, pouring rainstorm. I'd been traveling on a turnpike until an hour ago, but I left that too soon, I fear. But there, at least, I had the sense of reason and order of being in touch with civilization. A civilization which engineered roads for high-speed travel, which provided sensible road stops. But now, for all I knew or where I was going, I could have been traveling on the moon. My name is Charles Ross Victor, age 42. Occupation, teacher. Where was I going that night? I was on my way to a small Midwestern college to indulge myself in a lifelong passion. There was a sign. I slowed the car and stopped. You are now entering Allenbury, where all laws are strictly enforced. Population 872. Sheriff G. Van Allen. Well, that was plain enough. I switched on the overhead light in the car and searched the map. Well, there was only one thing which wasn't plain. Allenbury simply wasn't on the map. I began to drive more slowly, hoping for the sign of a lighted home or a gas station, any place where I might be able to find another human being. And then quite suddenly I saw another human being directly in front of me. 2 tons of car were too much to stop in time. I cut the engine, got out of the car and rushed to that pitifully small sodden heap in the road. It was a man, his arm thrown protectively across his face. I knelt in the storm, sick to my stomach. And then I looked up. There, almost as though it had been mysteriously and luminously painted in glowing colors, I saw a window and a man staring out of the lighted window at me. I rose and hurried to the window, and the cold, patrician face which had been watching me disappeared. I went up the porch steps, and the door opened suddenly, and the man wearing a yellow slicker came to the doorway. I've hit a man with my car. He said nothing. He walked past me into the road. I followed him. He knelt down then beside the body and looked at the face of the man I'd struck down. In the rain, his sightless eyes were those of a man in his early 50s, a ruined-looking face, but not the face of a brutal or stupid man.
Give me a hand.
We shouldn't move him until a doctor can see him.
Doctor's not going to help him.
No, he's not.
Said give me a hand. Far enough. You don't have to be so gentle. Hang up your things over there. Give me your driver's license. Come on. Never mind him. I'm talking to you. I'm Sheriff Van Allen. That sign you passed says what it means.
I never had a chance to avoid him. He just walked directly into my path.
Sit down. I'll make out the report.
Did you see it?
I saw it. Where were you going?
I was on my way to Lewiston College. I was on my way to the college for a tournament.
Chess tournament?
Yes. I was supposed to play and speak.
You're Victor. You're not Charles Ross Victor.
That's right.
Yeah. This is an honor. Charles Ross Victor. I was going to come down to the college to see you play. But you're coming here to my home. Why, it's indeed an honor.
Thank you. But I'd rather the honor had not happened this way.
Oh, Cussburger? Oh, forget it, Mr. Victor. It means nothing. I saw the whole thing. Shouldn't cause you a moment's embarrassment. Here, come over to the fire. You must be chilled to the bone. I'm sorry I didn't realize who you were. Here, sit down here. I have something that'll warm you up, a fine Napoleon brandy. I don't generally bring this out except for my most distinguished visitors. There isn't much of it left in the world, and there isn't much of anything fine left in this world. Yeah, drink this.
I feel awful about the accident, Sheriff.
Oh, forget that. It wasn't your fault. It was unavoidable. Cheers. Here's to chess and all who love it.
You, interested in chess?
Interested? I worship it. We can play later on this evening.
If you don't mind, Sheriff, I don't feel like playing this evening.
Tomorrow morning, then.
I don't like to play before a tournament, Sheriff. It does take a lot out of me, and I want to keep myself fresh.
I must say that's an ungrateful attitude to take, Mr. Victor.
Ungrateful?
You killed a man, and I'm proposing to let you get away with it. The least you can do is to play chess with me.
Oh, just a moment. It was an accident. You saw it. You told me you did. You're not letting me get away with anything.
I haven't had anyone to play chess with in this town in nearly 10 years.
I'm sorry about that, Sheriff.
Don't be a hypocrite. You're not sorry at all. But you could be made sorry.
What?
You know, homicide with a vehicle is a very serious crime in this state. You could be sent to prison for life.
July 31st, 1960. Suspense on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. In November of 1960, production of Suspense would move to New York City, and because of that, lost the big-name stars that would occasionally guest star on Suspense. Of course, there weren't many by this point in time. So you're enjoying... This is one of the last shows produced in Hollywood. By November, the show would be produced in New York City by game show producer Bruno Zerato Jr. July 31st, 1960, Suspense, Endgame on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
It was an accident. An unavoidable accident. You said so yourself.
Did I?
What do you mean? Of course you did.
Well, perhaps I spoke hastily. After all, the rain is heavy, the visibility poor, and I was looking from a lighted window out into the darkness. I couldn't really swear that the accident was unavoidable.
What is this?
You can't really conceive what it's like living out your life among swine, among clods and animals. You can't understand what it means to a man like me to have no living soul to talk to. No human being with whom I can communicate. Against whom I can pit my skill and brain and passion.
I can't understand what you're talking about.
Of course you do. You're letting your mind wander to that mongrel you struck down. You and I were men of intelligence. I could be a chess master as you are. I could leave this place.
What's stopping you, then?
There are certain matters of family pride involved. It's a mean little kingdom, but the king doesn't go elsewhere. Under my grandfather's will, Van Allen must always live in Allenbury, must always hold a position in the town's government.
Oh, I see. A remittance man. The money.
I need money. It's a necessary condition to my existence.
You could go to work.
No, thank you, Mr. Victor. I'm happy with what I do now.
What do you want?
Play chess with me.
If it means that much to you, let's play.
Yes, of course. Yeah, I'll just go and get my best board. Oh, I can just picture the evenings ahead for us.
Evenings?
Yes, of course. We ought to be able to play 5 or 6 times a week or more. Aren't those lovely chessmen? I had them sent from Czechoslovakia. Beautifully carved.
What do you mean?
Well, after all, I will be saving you from a life sentence in prison.
In exchange for which you want...
You live here in Allenbury and play chess with me.
You're not serious. You can't be.
I've never wanted anything more in my whole life.
You'd lie to get that?
I'd kill to get that. Doesn't have to be unpleasant. I assure you that you'll be completely comfortable here. We could find you a suitable house, servant.
If I don't choose to do that?
You'll spend your life in prison, Mr. Victor.
You're insane.
Not noticeably so. Shall we play? I'll take White.
How long would I have to stay here?
I don't know. 6 months, a year, possibly longer.
Possibly the rest of my natural life?
I can always hope that you live to a ripe old age.
Van Allen's smile was awful. It was the smile of a madman who knew he had won. I looked away, incapable of returning his stare, and glanced towards the poor dead man who had unwittingly thrown me into this hideous trap. Suddenly, my heart leapt. Berger's eyes were open. He's alive, Van Allen. He's alive. We've got to get a doctor for him. He'll die without help.
That's what I'm counting on.
I'm going for help.
By the time you're back, he'll be dead. I'll see to it the moment you're out the door. It's my move. Go ahead, Mr. Victor.
What sort of a man are you, Van Allen? It takes a special breed of man to sit by while a human being bleeds to death.
Shall I tell you something about Gus? He used to be a doctor here. Surprised? He was quite the leading town intellectual, the scientist. But Gus had a fatal weakness. He was soft. He was sympathetic. He was kind. Weren't you, Gus?
As Van Allen spoke, I watched Berger's eyes.
Gus was all right when it came to treating broken legs and running noses. But worse things than that happened to men. It was a young farmhand who was mangled by one of those big reaper thresher machines. Peterson, wasn't it, Gus? That was his name. Peterson.
Berger's eyes closed, whether through weakness or remembered pain, I could not tell.
Pretty bad sight. So bad, in fact, that Gus couldn't stand it. Took a few drinks to steady his nerves. Tricky job for an objective man of science. Trouble was, Gus wasn't an objective scientist. It was a quivering mass of nerves. It's your move, Mr. Victor.
Bishop to Queen 3.
Ah, you made me lose a temper, Mr. Victor. My congratulations.
And what happened to Peterson?
I don't think Gus would want me to tell you. Take a look at him, Mr. Victor. Those are big, fat tears rolling out of his eyes.
He's in pain, Van Allen. Have pity, for God's sake.
He isn't in pain. He's remembering Peterson. I suppose he still feels sorry for that big, dumb farmer. Well, feeling sorry for him is what turned Peterson into a total cripple. Feeling sorry for others is what took the spine out of Dr. August Berger.
I hate you, Van Allen.
Nothing wrong with hate. It's your move.
Queen to Rook 5.
Very good. Very good indeed. I see you come by your claim to being a master honestly.
I'll play you for his life, right now.
You're in a powerful position.
Reverse the board, then. I'll take the white.
No. Chess should never be played for stakes. It corrupts the purity of the game, and if there's anything I detest, it's the corruption of what should be pure. That thing lying there to his side is corruption. Corruption of a man who should have been pure, untouched by the stickier, sloppier emotions.
Like compassion?
Your move, Mr. Victor.
Queen to rook 6.
You're moving rather quickly, aren't you?
I intend to finish you off quickly.
You can try.
It's your move, Van Allen.
Well, I think I'll just take that knight. It's your move.
Could you continue playing me for the rest of your life knowing I hated you, that I detested you?
Hate is a purifying agent. It cleanses. Don't you know that?
No, Van Allen, you're wrong. Hate never purified anything. But you've taught me hate.
Good. We'll make our games all the keener.
If you let Berger die, I'll kill you for it the first chance I have.
I'd like to believe that, but I don't. You're incapable of killing anyone because you care about Gus. You love him. You hear that, Gus? He loves you. He loves your immortal soul.
I promise you, Dr. Berger, I will. I'll kill him for what he's done to you.
That's very generous of him, Gus, isn't it? Willing to throw his life away and mine, too, just to avenge you. As if you were worth avenging. That ought to make you die happily, Gus, shouldn't it? But you and I know differently. You aren't worth the dirt they'll cover you with. Your move, Mr. Victor?
I'll take the bishop.
Take it and welcome to it. I didn't think you'd fall into that trap, Mr. Victor. Surprised you, didn't I?
I'll concede.
No, you won't. You'll play it out to the end, to the bitter end. Gus, you've given me a lifetime partner. You've never done anything in your life worth anything. But you have done this much for me. Thank you, Gus. Thank you for getting yourself killed. Your move, Mr. Victor. Now, wait a minute. I believe Gus is actually trying to talk. Now, what dying words of wisdom can we get from this corpse? What is it, Gus? Tell me. I'll tell him. Beat me? You want him to beat me? He can't, Gus. He's losing now. He's lost now. Just as you are. Well, Mr. Victor, I believe it was your move.
I'll beat him, Dr. Berger. I swear to you I will. I'll beat him. I concentrated then, driving out hatred, driving out any thought of the position in which I had found myself. I made up my mind to win. Van Allen's game was good. Good enough to get him into first-ranked tournament play. But like all pathological players, he was too anxious for the kill. And once he had scented victory, he pressed his attack without any thought to defensive positions.
Check.
King to rook square.
Check. It's the end, Victor. Another move or two, and it's the end.
Van Allen was totally absorbed in the play, and so didn't notice what I did. That Dr. Berger, painfully, with terrible slowness, had risen to his knees and then to his feet. He moved very slowly towards us. Now he was close enough for me to hear his breathing, and then he threw his arms up.
You lose, Van Allen. You swine! You've ruined my game! No, Van Allen! Don't you ruin it! You always were a bad chess player and a good shot. I was winning. You ruined it.
No, Van Allen. You ruined it.
I didn't. I was winning.
Remember the board as it was before Berger upset it? Do you remember it?
Yeah. Yes, I remember it.
It was my move. And my move is bishop to queen 2. Do you see it?
Bishop to queen 2. Yes, I see it.
Check and mate. You lost, Van Allen.
Hey, Sheriff. You know what happened to the driver of that car outside? We've been looking for him for the last half hour. He went past the toll booth without paying. Hey, what's going on?
Come right in, officer. The sheriff has just murdered a man who would have died anyway. But he couldn't wait.
The sheriff?
I lost.
You better give me that gun, Van.
I lost.
In more ways than one, Van Allen, and for a terrible reason.
You didn't know how to wait. Berger knew that you didn't know how to wait. So he picked himself up with his last dying will to make you kill him, which is exactly what you did. And a player who does what his opponent wants him to do can never win. He was right. You're a good shot, but a bad chess player.
Suspense.
You've been listening to Endgame, written for Suspense by David Karp. Heard in tonight's story were Michael Caine as Victor, Santos Ortega as Van Allen, Jack Arthur as Berger, and Alan Manson as the Trooper. Listen again next week when we return with Big Dive by John West, another tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
And there you get a sample of 2 shows that were broadcast on CBS Radio July 31st, 1960. That Suspense, earlier this hour, Have Gun Will Travel. If you missed any of this, you can always hear the shows on demand at my webpage, classicradio.stream. There you can stream the shows on demand, learn more about classic radio collecting. We produce 21 hours of classic radio theater each and every week here. You can also contact me there. You can find details on how you can start building a classic radio collection of your own. You can also find our social media links, Twitter and Facebook both. And you can contact me there, or even more, if you like what we do here, you can buy me a copy. That Buy Me a Copy link, that money gets set aside, and we use that to get additional great classic radio theater programs for all of you to hear. That's all at my webpage, classicradio.stream. That's classicradio.stream. Please thank this radio station and the support they're advertising. And most importantly, tell your friends that great radio shows are right here at this spot on the dial. Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on your favorite station.